Hello and welcome to the next lesson, case study number 5, photo gallery application. Let's get started. Aaliyah is an artist who loves to travel. She wants to create a simple photo gallery app to organize and share her photos with friends and fans. She wants a system that allows her to manage her images easily and share them straightforwardly and reliably. Here are her requirements. The system should allow Aaliyah to upload photos. It should create and show thumbnails for the uploaded photos. Aaliyah should be able to search for photos by tags, dates, or other details while she is managing her photo gallery. Aaliyah's fans should be able to share individual images or albums through links easily. Only Aaliyah should be able to upload or edit photos and albums. All right, now let's get to the design. First, we're going to talk about the user. We always talk about the user first. And now, so this going to, we're going to go back to some of the earlier case studies, like the blogging case study. You're talking about, Aaliyah's really, has these images and wants to share them in a very straightforward way, in a very simple way, but efficient and reliable as well. It's very important to have these things. So again, we think about simplicity. Sometimes we have this idea that like, oh, we have these complicated systems and complicated means better. But the thing is, the more complicated something is, the harder it is to maintain, the harder it is to understand, the harder it is to expand on it. The simpler the design, the more robust it is, and the more effective it becomes into actually doing the requirements stated. So in this case, again, hey, Aaliyah wants to have this photo gallery that other people can use. We know from our blogging application case study that stuff that's really good to ensure that lots of people can view your your static information. So we're going to have so we have two sets of caches, right? We'll have the web page cache, all right? So web page cache that basically when you see an album or an image, in the page and what have you, they have the ability to see that very quickly. And of course, with the web pages, we want to have that separate media, the media cache as well. So our web page cache service. Give me a second. Service for the web pages so that we can see that. And then you have your media cache service, right? In these cases, where people can see the videos and view them and view them properly. In some cases, you can even combine them into one. In this case, I want to separate them out to the two different use cases. But nonetheless, the user, right, looking at Aaliyah's images and albums, will interface with both of these. One first, and then the browser will go ahead and ask for the images and be able to save it. These things will be located here. Now, here's the thing that becomes interesting. So what we're going to do here is connect these two caches to what we're going to call a raw file service. All right. And now just stay with me for a second here, because again, we're looking at simplicity. The goal is to satisfy these requirements in a simple, straightforward way so that Aaliyah can go out, edit, publish her images reliably, simply, without and be very effective, because these cache services are very fast, so that her photo gallery will be absolutely responsive and she'll be able to edit it very quickly as well, without all these moving parts that could go wrong, and that reduces reliability. So we have a raw file service here. So here's the idea. You'll see this paradigm sometimes happen. Actually, let me go ahead and connect these two caches to this service. You'll see this paradigm happen sometimes, is that you have the ability, if you save something to this raw file service, right? It saves it, and then it has the ability to automatically update cache services that have URLs that are connected to the user. There's actually systems right now that do this automatically for you. And the cool thing about this is all of a sudden now you have this ability to have this static website, right? Basically, that's what we're doing here. A static website with have files and images that don't change in the server end, that many people can go ahead and access, not only access, but access to locations close to them. Remember I mentioned about the, CDNs, content delivery networks that usually media cache services are built on. So you have a very responsive site backed by a raw file service that has all of the files and images needed to show that, right? So now all of a sudden you have this, just imagine that you have all the files and images. Amelia has uploaded all this files and images in the right way into this raw file service. The raw file service automatically updates the web page and media page caches whenever the files are updated. The user can go ahead and view them quickly. So at this point, we already have and imagine that thumbnails would also be uploaded into the raw file service and serviced in the media cache service as well. So you have the whole thumbnails being viewed. You have the ability for fans to be able to share individual images or albums through links easily, because through like the access of the user's access of these images, these will have their own URLs that can be shared to other people very easily. Okay, so we have this. Now the question though here is, how does Aaliyah update this raw file service appropriately and straightforwardly so that she can make updates so that this works out? What we're going to use here is a paradigm that sometimes I feel like kind of gets lost in our cloud world where everything has to be hosted, is that we're going to actually introduce a second user over here. And this user is going to be Aaliyah. The cool thing, one thing to note, whenever you hear something like, hey, only this person wants to have access to this application, consider this paradigm. We go ahead, we create a service, and we're going to name this. This service is not just a regular web service, it's a local web service. And what I mean by that is, on Aaliyah's actual web, like computer, on her laptop, whatever it is that she's using, she runs something that runs a web page or a web service in the computer itself. I'm not talking about hosted online like these are. I'm talking about on her physical computer, it's running a local web service. There's really cool things that happen here. One, that now the full power of Aaliyah's laptop or computer can be used to do all the administering. And you'll be surprised with all these laptops having so many cores and so many GPUs. You'll be surprised what it can do when you're the only client, right? So let me go ahead and connect this. So all of a sudden here, and I'm going to connect this local web service directly to the raw file service. This, you can provide an interface that enables Aaliyah to search for photos by tags, dates, and all the details. We run the searches here. We don't have to worry about a local database, because these are all going to be raw files that local web service can handle. We don't need separate workers, because the local web service can spin off a process to create thumbnails. We don't need to create anything else. Like, we can just build this local web service, the ability to do these things directly. And even if Aaliyah has to wait, it's only Aaliyah, and it's going to actually be a lot faster than you think. That's actually a very straightforward process. So all the things that we normally do for like a hosted service, we don't have to do, because it's only one client and it's a dedicated machine for that client, which is basically what a local computing is. So the local web service can to search for photos by tags, dates, and other details. The system shall allow Aaliyah to upload photos. You can do that in your local web service. The biggest thing here is we don't need authentication. Why? Only Aaliyah should be able to upload or edit photos and albums. As long as Aaliyah has her laptop, she's the only one that can upload or edit photos and albums. Sometimes you can have inherent authentication by just saying, hey, we're only going to enable it based on if the person has something. And in this case, if the person has their laptop. This local web service can be connected to the raw file service, so that when she's done with her edits, she can push publish, and it will go ahead and make a request to the raw file service, uploads all the changes or the images and the folders, and that naturally will update the web page and media cache services. And that all of a sudden now we have a very efficient system where all of the editing and administration is actually done locally and being pushed to the raw file service. And only the online part that's over here is just focused on doing it in a way to make sure that the user can access her can access her photo galleries and the photo albums efficiently. And one cool thing too is that when it comes to albums, the natural idea of having a folder, right, that has photos files in it can naturally be interpreted as an album. And then you can use this local web service combined with the raw file service to make it so that if you want to create an album, you create a folder with a number of pictures in it, and the local web service will automatically create whatever pages needed to make it possible for the user to have that actual page where they see an album. All this is very possible within this local web server itself because you can add more functionality in it because there's only one user and it's run on a laptop that has most likely multiple cores dedicated to just this purpose. So it's a very powerful, efficient way to have responsiveness with Aaliyah administering, and also have responsiveness for end users being able to, her fans, to be able to view her images and albums efficiently. What's even a side note that's not even a part of a requirement I'm going to add here is that we also automatically have offline capability for free. If we have this local web service, and it doesn't need the internet to run. It just needs, like, the processing is the computer itself. So Aaliyah can do all her changes, and then whenever she's actually connected to the internet, press publish, and then all the stuff can be published. So all of a sudden now you have offline access, so that if Aaliyah's is traveling, because that's the thing, and it's one thing, sometimes you want to tease out additional requirements that maybe hasn't been stated. If she's a travel enthusiast and she's traveling all over the place, there might be times she might be taking photos, but she'll have her laptop, but she might not have internet. This naturally gives her the ability to edit her website, and then whenever she has that connectivity, publish it as well. So we have that additional benefit for this simple yet powerful design. All right, so let's go to the takeaways. First key takeaway: because Aaliyah is the only one editing and uploading photos, we use this to simplify the system significantly. This design uses a local web service hosted on Aaliyah's computer. Since she's the only client of this local service, she can utilize the full power of her laptop to administer her photo gallery. Hosted on her computer, this local web server can search for photos, create albums, and generate thumbnails. The local web service can then upload the final result to the raw file service to allow external users to see her images and albums. Second key takeaway: Aaliyah uploads her photos to the raw file service and creates a folder for her albums. Each folder has a URL that displays all the pictures inside. The local web server creates the files needed to make this happen. This setup means she doesn't need to add authentication services, since only her local web service hosted on her laptop can administer the photo gallery. Third key takeaway: Aaliyah does not need a separate web service because the web page and media cache services automatically update whenever she uploads files and photos to the raw file service. The file path in the file store becomes part of the natural URL for others to see the pictures. This case study shows how simplicity can offer a robust solution that requires less maintenance than more complicated solutions, yet still fulfills Aaliyah's system requirements. Thank you so much, and I'll see you at the next one.